The Team Schedule Health Report has existed within the scheduling module for quite some time, but recently some updates were added to the report to make it a little bit easier to read and as well as check for additional things. Some of these things are issues that schedulers have identified in years past as things that are kind of hard to identify and would be nice for the system to kind of detect, and they're not necessarily direct conflicts. So just quickly review what this page is now checking for. It's still checking for whether there's a tournament. There should only be a tournament game scheduled within that. If there's a practice scheduled within the tournament, it would highlight that as red as a big issue. Also, if there's an away game, it's going to warn about any practice that's within 6 hours of that away game as a potential issue. If there's any canceled items, practices, or games, it's going to show that with black background and yellow text. Then it's going to have a number of orange warnings, which is if there are anything scheduled within 6 hours of each other, that's a potential issue. If there's a conflict with a team event, that's now checking for that. If there's an event containing the word game or practice in it, that should be in the scheduling module, not as a team event, so it's going to warn about those things as well. And also, if there's an event containing the word tournament, then again, that if it is an actually tournament, it should be in the scheduling module as a team tournament as opposed to a team event. And then there's a few other things that have been added that allow schedulers to more quickly identify things that might be an issue, such as 3 or more consecutive days with regular season or playoff games scheduled. This is particularly useful if it's the end of one month and the start of the next, and there's a game on maybe November 30th and a game on December 1st and December 2nd. Those can be actually hard to spot as 3 consecutive days because the month changes, but the system would actually detect that for you and say that there are 3 consecutive days with regular season or playoff games which you may want to get rescheduled. It's also going to check to see if there are 4 regular season or playoff games within a span of 5 days. Again, that's not normal. It could happen, but it's one of those things that schedulers have tried to avoid. So that would be 2 on, 1 off, and 2 on again. If it was a situation where there was 3 on, 1 off, and 1 on again, then that would actually show both warnings. If there are 3 or more regular season or playoff games within a span of 2 days, then it also shows that as a potential issue. Again, that might happen if there's a doubleheader on one day followed by or preceded by a single game on the day before. If the last thing is a real interesting one, and again, lots of schedulers have said this might be an issue, just having teams travel too many times during the week. So if there are 2 or more away regular season or playoff games on 2 consecutive midweek days. So it's kind of a specific one, but that basically says if there are 2 away games on Monday and Tuesday, or Tuesday and Wednesday, or Wednesday and Thursday, where both games are Monday to Thursday, then it would show that as a potential issue. Now, if one of those games was like a Sunday Monday or a Thursday Friday, it's not going to show that because one of the games is on the weekend. And the last thing that it's going to check for, which is also new, is whether there's an evening activity, so a game or a practice, followed by a morning activity on the following day. So here again, as an example, it shows that the first item at 9 o'clock in the morning on the November 4th, and the last item the day before ends at 7:30 p.m. So schedulers can use their judgment to determine whether or not that's actually an issue and something they need to address, if they can, or just let it go. Now, the Team Schedule Health Report can be available or can be accessed by visiting the Report section of the scheduling module and going to Team Schedule Health and just choosing which team that you want to analyze. You can also access the Team Schedule Health Report at any time by looking at an individual team's calendar under the current season option, and in the top right it will show the Team Schedule Health Report as a button, and that will just basically go to the Report section, load up the page, and pre-select the team that you just came from as the team you want to analyze.